I think what's really striking is you look at in the quarter, those commercial airplane deliveries were down 36%. And that just speaks to how slow Boeing is going right now as it tries to finally get its arms around its quality control issues and make sure that the FAA is satisfied. But if it's not delivering planes, then it's not collecting cash on those aircraft. And that's why you're ending up with this negative free cash flow in the quarter of about $3.9 billion. Now, that could have been worse, quite frankly. And it's certainly positive to hear Boeing talking about being able to clear out its inventory by the end of the year. But I think that remains a bit of a prove it story. At this point in time, we still need to see the results of Boeing's action plan in response to that FAA ultimatum to come up with some sort of plan to finally, put an end to these quality control issues. And I think the FAA is really going to be the gating factor here in terms of Boeing's ability to meet those goals.
Demand isn't a problem. They're talking about the new net orders, 125. Demand hasn't been a problem. It's never really been a problem over the last few years, Brooke. It's quality control, to your point, and now it's about production, their ability to meet that demand. Brooke, has it interested you at all that demand hasn't fallen off in a material way, given how much this company has been in deep water over the last few months?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at its market share relative to Airbus, it is losing. And Airbus has built up a pretty substantial lead, particularly in the narrow body market. And so in terms of that competitive dynamic, it is much more lopsided than it was just a few years ago. But the reality is you have a duopoly. And if you are an airline operating in either Europe or the US or really any part of the Western world, your only choice is Boeing or Airbus. And it's not in the airline's interest to put all of their orders on Airbus in terms of pricing dynamics and also in terms of just being able to get those airplanes, because Airbus is sold out well into the next decade. And I think that's, if you look at Wall Street analysts, and a lot of them are still very positive on Boeing stock, not because, the current situation is so wonderful, but just because the reality of the aerospace market is that demand is going to be there for Boeing. Boeing is not going to be allowed to fail. It is the biggest U.S. exporter, and the airlines and much of the world really depend on this company to finally figure out what is going on and be able to hand over airplanes that are to the quality that airlines expect.